Have you ever wondered how your sales performance compares against your competitors and peers? The B2B Sales Benchmark Report provides the definitive guide to what success looks like in 2021. See how you compare in terms of win rate, sales cycle, average deal value, relationships, and engagement. You can see the results and get the full report at ebster.com/B2B-sales-benchmarks. This is Sales Ops Demystified, the #1 most downloaded podcast in sales operations. We invite the brightest minds in sales operations onto the show to deconstruct the why, what, and how behind rep productivity, forecasting, metrics, and all things revenue. This podcast is brought to you by Ebster, the leading customer engagement platform for Salesforce. Hello, and welcome to another very special episode of the Sales Ops Demystified podcast. We're joined by Sofiya Ulyak. My pronunciation was great there, right?
Yeah, perfect.
Of Star. Now, Sofiya has been with Star for approximately 5 years and has kind of risen through the ranks of sales operations to get to director of commercial operations right now. So that's what we're going to be digging into in the next 20 to 30 minutes. So Sofiya, welcome to the show.
Yep, my pleasure. It's been actually 8 years already.
8 years?
8
I got that
years.
wrong.
Yep.
But you weren't in, I think I'm correct in saying that you weren't in sales ops when you joined Star. Is that right?
No, I weren't. I joined Star as sales assistant 8 years ago and then eventually grew into sales operations.
Got it. And what is the sales assistant role? Is that actually like helping, is that actually selling?
It's not selling. So I was just assisting the sales team with their day-to-day productivity, which included like their management of their calendars, making sure the Salesforce is updated. That's probably where I learned all the peculiarities of our sales process.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say that kind of sounds like it is sales operations anyway. Would you agree, or would you think that's like a different?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So then you have been in sales operations for 8 years at Star.
Yep.
How's the journey been?
A roller coaster.
Mm-hmm.
Especially so when I joined Star, we didn't actually have like a set sales process. We didn't have like best practices mapped and documented. So we were just doing the best that we could. And I think that's eventually how I ended up in sales operations at some point, where we were trying to make us consistent, make us more productive by looking at what's working and what doesn't. Mm-hmm. So at that point, we've started building actually like the well-documented, well-structured sales process, which eventually took us some time, as well as other things that sales operations do, onboarding of the sales reps, reporting, forecasting, all of that. Fantastic things that make us more productive, make us more successful.
Got it. And how many people in the sales team are you currently supporting?
So we have 8 sales executives, 3 business development people, and 2 customer success people.
Got it. And your team is responsible for all of those people?
Yes, and also the inside sales reps as well.
And how many of those do you have?
12.
Got it. So 12 inside sales, 8 sales executives, 3 BDRs, and 2 CS.
Yep. And in total, 4 sales operations people.
Got it. Awesome. And so do they sit, because I know you're directing commercial operations. So
yep.
Does that mean there's 5 in total in your team? So 4 sales ops and you?
So commercial operations, it's more known on the market as revenue ops, but we call it commercial operations. So I'm currently running basically three teams: sales operations, inside sales, and marketing.
Okay, so you're running the marketing team, as in you're like head of marketing as well.
Head of marketing, I'd say it's like too much. I'd say that marketing operations, basically.
Got it. Okay. And so how many people in marketing operations?
6.
Got it. And so is that the whole of the marketing team, or is there more people in the marketing team?
There are more people on the marketing team,
Got
like regional marketing managers.
Got it. So I'm trying to understand. So you're basically, below you, there is 25 people in sales and success. There's 4 people in the sales ops team, and then there's 6 people in the marketing ops team.
Yep, but sales executives are not reporting directly to me, but to chief commercial officer that I'm eventually reporting to as well.
Got it. Yeah. So you're not like managing them, but you're like responsible for their productivity, right?
Yeah, of course.
Got it. Did I miss anyone else there, or do we have more people that you're helping?
No, that's it.
Okay, so that's 35 in total. Cool. Okay. And so before we move on, I quickly want to understand. So you're in like the sales assistant role. What made you want to like spend more time and dive deeper into the sales operations like world, or did that just kind of happen naturally?
It happened naturally because I had an interest in making like our sales machine work. And that's, I think, where I ended up right now with commercial operations, because sales on their own cannot be kept in vacuum. You need to make sure that they are well aligned with marketing, with inside sales reps, that all the processes are followed.
Mm-hmm.
We are on the same page. So that's eventually how it happened. But initially, as I've mentioned already, we started building the sales process that would be consistent throughout all geographies that we work, and that all the commercial like salespeople, that they are aligned and they follow the same process, because a lot is dependent on that, given that they are a lot of working with the engineering teams, with the design teams that we have, strategy teams. So you need to make sure that we spend our time right, that we focus on the right efforts, that everyone follows the same process.
Got it. Makes sense. I assume you guys are responsible for the data quality in the CRM.
Of course.
Cool. And what is the current just sales related tech stack that you guys are using at the moment?
At the moment, we are using Salesforce as our CRM.
Yep.
We also use Smart Cloud Connect, which is basically a software that lets you sync the activity of the sales reps on a daily basis to Salesforce, so we can actually see what's going on with specific contacts or opportunities. And we use Showpad for onboarding.
Cool. Awesome. Okay. And then you've already mentioned so far about getting these people productive. So this might be a tricky question, but over your like 8 years looking at Star's sales process, what's something that you've done that has like had a big impact on the productivity of just the various sales teams that you're responsible for?
It is a tricky question. And I think the primary answer is you need to understand what you're trying to achieve. Is like a big question. Why are you doing this and not something else? The next level that you are getting into is like, what's in it for the salespeople that will be affected? So you need to get into their shoes and position it the way that they will understand the benefits. So to give you an example, if we look at the sales cycles and compare if someone is going off the process and someone follows the process, you can definitely see like the differences in between. So what you actually do, you are trying to communicate to a sales rep, which is like off the road, that if you follow the sales process, you do this and that, you will get to your endpoint and your result much faster based on the results that you see from other people. So communicating this to them and making sure that they understand the value behind what they are being asked to do is like extremely important, in my opinion.
Got it. So making it clear to them what they can gain from doing this thing that you want them to do.
Yes.
How do you, on that note, how do you like maintain and keep good relationships with the salespeople? Like, do you just walk around the sales area of the office and buy them donuts, or like, how does that work?
Unfortunately, I don't have like a luxury of like being face to face with them on a daily basis because we are global and majority of our sales reps are in our locations.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the relationship itself is based on trust between us as a sales operations and them as our customers primarily, because we are serving them and we are helping them be successful. So that's how it all begins. It's also in continuous communication with them, understanding what are the pain points that they are facing right now, understanding what is eating like majority of their time in terms of like operational things where we can help them go and hunt and be in the field more time versus like filling in the CRM, which we can automate and find other software and other ways how to improve their productivity.
Got it. You mentioned using Showpad for onboarding. Do you have any kind of tips or like strategies that have worked to onboard fast?
I don't know. I am myself proud of what my team has built so far in terms of onboarding program. It's threefold, I'd say. We use Showpad for the online piece. So when the new sales rep starts, he or she goes through the online onboarding in Showpad that consists of several modules where they learn about the company, our culture, mission, values, our services, our successful projects and customers, as well as the overview of different sales processes that they will be facing on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
Once that piece is completed, we do an on-site onboarding here in our key delivery center in Ukraine. That's where they actually meet the majority of people that they will be working with, different heads of departments, which lets them build relationship on the first place with those people, as well as better understand our value proposition and what differentiates us from other consultancy companies out there. And then the third piece is the actual sales training on value selling methodology. We have been working with value selling associates for a long time already. We found their methodology really resonating with us, and we continue doing that. But I think the most important piece, because you dump all that information in 1 month, and as studies show, 60 to 70% of that information is forgotten. We do a refresher sessions each quarter, which also include a refresher sessions with value selling, where we review the deals that are either stuck in the funnel and the sales reps has no idea how to move them forward, what he needs to do, or some strategic deals that we have in the funnel. And the other piece is the refresher sessions on like our value proposition, recent cases that we've completed, or projects, or if anything has been added to our services that we haven't done before, so they know what they are actually selling.
Got it. I have a quick question about on the value selling methodology. Could you just like sum that up in like a couple of sentences?
Value selling methodology. I'm not a sales rep myself, but I went through a few of those sessions. It is based on basically understanding the pain points of the prospect and mapping that on our value and making sure that what we are trying to sell is really will bring value to the prospect.
Got it. So discovering what their challenges or problems are, and then mapping that to the good things or the value that your product provides, and then making sure you only sell if you can actually help solve the problem.
Yeah, exactly. Understanding kind of the end game, what the prospect is trying to achieve with their pain point or need, and delivering the best quality and the best value we can if we can do it.
Got it. Awesome. Moving on now to the sales forecasting process. Are you involved with that?
Yes.
And how's that currently working?
We are continuously improving it, but right now it's kind of a mix of various practices that we've learned so far. We forecast based on our existing funnel of customers. Basically, we call it an order book or existing bucket. And we also include the deals which are in the bottom of the funnel, which we believe will close. So that's on the sales plate. After that, we adjust that forecast with some probabilities based on the historical data. So, for example, if in 2019 we've seen that out of the deals that are pending customer decision on the proposal, only 20% of those deals close throughout the year, then we adjust the probability of our forecast for that specific bucket by 20%.
Got it. Okay. So you have your kind of existing bucket, and these are clients that are currently paying you and you assume will keep paying you. And then you look at all deals that might close and then also adjust based on previous data.
Yep, on historical data. Yeah,
makes sense.
We are proud that our accuracy with the forecast for the past 2 years has been ranging from 98 to 103%, which we think is pretty spot on.
Mm-hmm. Who's involved in that forecasting process?
Sales people themselves, sales operations. We have a person that is working tightly with sales reps to make sure that the data is in there, as well as our chief commercial officer, who is doing the final review of what's being forecasted and making sure that we have no stones left unturned in terms of what he knows we might close in the nearest future.
Got it. And if you could only measure one revenue related or commercial related metric for the rest of your career, which would you choose?
Oh God. That's really tough question. I don't know, time to hitting first quota hit for a sales rep. I think I find this metric really interesting for the reason that you have to rely on a lot of things for that specific person, like the geography that he or she is working, the experience that they had, and making sure that it also shows you if your onboarding process is working. So taking the time that the sales rep, the newcomer, has hit his first quota 100% makes you evaluate whether it's the right person or not, as well as as I mentioned, whether the onboarding process is working or we can fix some things which make them ramp up faster.
Got it. So you can basically tell if you hired the right person, but you can also tell how effective you are at training them. So those are the two variables.
Yep.
Makes sense. Awesome. And then final question is, who have influenced you the most in your career related to sales or revenue operations?
That's even a tougher question than KPIs. I think the person who helped me grow where I am right now and like supported me throughout the way, shared the knowledge, is our CEO, Michael, who I've been working with for those 8 years. That's where I learned majority of what I know right now. And also he was always focusing me in the right direction where we need to invest time and effort right now. So yeah, out of sales operations community, I'm a big fan of Hillary from Zoom. We've met once at OpStars in San Francisco. I was hugely impressed with her experience as well as she tackles sales operations. So I think those two people are like my favorites.
Got it. And one extra question. How many people were there at Star when you joined 8 years ago?
At Star, I think around 250 in total.
Got it. So it's sort of just over tripled in the 8 years.
Yeah, we are right now at 750.
Got it. Yeah, nice. That's really cool. An amazing journey.
Yeah, as I mentioned, roller coaster.
And before we finish, is there like anything else that you've learned in the 8 years that you'd like to hand down to someone who's more junior in sales operations?
I think what I personally believe in is that sales operations is really challenging, but it's also exciting role. And in this role, you cannot take anything for granted. And I think when I've talked to cluster guys, I've mentioned the analogy of sales operations, sales process as a bunch of Lego bricks. That's your sales process. You cannot take it for granted. You have to continuously see where you need to build up, which like stores or pieces you need to remove. And that what makes you successful. And that what eventually will make your sales reps and your company successful. So,
got it. Well, I have 1.5 pages of notes here. So here are the things that I picked out. I like your it's a very clear 3-part onboarding with the on-site to get those relationships at the start, but then also having the refresher sessions. Building a relationship of trust with salespeople so they'll believe you when you go to them and be like, actually, this way is going to help you hit your goals. And then finally, the kind of depth of the time to hitting first quota metric, where, and your point that not only does it show you how good your onboarding is, but actually will teach you about how good you are at hiring at the same time. So Sofiya, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for inviting me. It was a pleasure, and I hope it was useful for the rest of the sales ops community. We are doing great things.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Sales Ops Demystified podcast. If you are listening on a podcast listening application, then please subscribe, rate, and review. And if you have any questions about the show, if you know a guest, or if you have any questions about sales operations, just hit me up at tomhunt@ebster.com. That's tomhunt@ebster.com.